Okay, moving on. Moving on. Speak to Victus. Can we just fast travel to the old mate? Thanks. Appreciate you. Sir, you have a problem. Who also knew? Well, that's embarrassing. It's probably closer from where I am. Where I was, sorry.
I asked my boss what they're doing to stop
Fine, we'll just go to the NAB. Go to Mars.
Okay, no bounty.
Or I just do the smart thing and just go to Mars to myself. It is Mars, right? Bye, Andreja. Oh yeah, I still haven't told her about Victus. No one knows but me. Yeah, bro, you have someone who knows and you need to tell me now.
Well, what a pleasant surprise.
What I'm about to tell you isn't so pleasant.
When I heard you and Hadrian were headed for Londinian of all places, I presumed you must be onto something big.
We're onto the thing that you're onto.
Did you find what you were looking for?
Yes, but no. Oh, we did a whole lot more. Don't play dumb. We know you were behind the attacks on New Atlantis and Tau City. I don't know. Is there anything you want to tell me about your time in Londinian?
I haven't been to Londinian in many years. Why? Is there some way I could be of assistance? Were you able to recover what you were looking for?
I don't trust this guy.
Good news, then. So, what exactly are you doing here? Plenty still to be done in defeating the Terramorphs, no?
We found a recording of you discussing use of Terramorphs as a weapon. I know you're involved in... Please stop. You murdered UC citizens. You can pay for it. Now confess.
Did you? Well, I don't know what you think you heard on this recording, but I sincerely hope you didn't come to the wrong conclusions. After all, given the Cabinet's current state of anxiety, they might misinterpret such a discovery to mean I could have been involved with the attacks. Perhaps I can convince you to keep this among us.
You need to tell me who else knew. I've got no offense to anyone. I just want to know the truth.
You want to hear the words, then? I did it. The Terramorph attacks
What?
on Tau City.
I had faith in you, man.
Atlantis.
I didn't want to jump to conclusions.
Years of coordination between my associate and I.
Who's your associate?
Figuring out how to deploy the Lazarus plant's pollen outside of Londinian. Learning to synthesize
Is this your way of revenge against people who imprisoned you?
use it as a weapon.
Probably.
Now, being as clever as you are, I'm sure you have thoughts on why I might do such a thing.
Revenge. No better way to show the UC what deadly weapon they have in the Lazarus plant than to use it. So, who have you been working with?
All in due time.
Bro.
First, I want to see if you're truly as astute as you appear. So why would someone like me go through all this trouble?
It's personal.
You couldn't be more right. The attacks were a correction. When I discovered the plant, I did consider handing over what I'd found, but we were at war. And I couldn't risk information that dangerous falling into the wrong hands. So I ordered the bombing of the Londinian spaceport, fixing two problems at once. Halting the spread of the city's Terramorph outbreak, and sealing away knowledge of the plant's potential.
But who are you planning on using it against? If it's not revenge, what's the point? We're not at war. No secret is so dangerous you can justify condemning so many lives. You just said that it took you years to use a plant outside of Londinium. You killed them for nothing. That information should have been handed over, secured to keep it from ever being used. You didn't even trust your own people in the UC.
These were the final days of the colony war, Captain. The Freestar Collective had spies everywhere. I was concerned that if word got out, the Collective could swoop down, start breeding Lazarus plants, and overrun our worlds with waves of terramorphs. Just like what was happening on Londinium at that very moment. Sealing off the city to prevent mass death, it was the only option that made sense at the time.
I don't disagree from your perspective, but can you just tell me?
It's easy to judge now.
You're not wrong.
In that moment, I wasn't about to add another dangerous variable to an already catastrophic war.
Fair.
But then, as the war ended, my trial, my execution, I made a decision. After all, I'd given everything for the colonies. My life as I knew it included. And what did I get in return? Was there any effort by the UC to protect my legacy? My daughter's legacy? No. We were sacrificed when all we did was serve. So I kept what I'd learned and arranged the attacks to set things right again. My daughter, she becomes a hero. I become a trusted advisor, having found Kaiser, the research team, and cement my new position of influence when I hand them the name of the person responsible for the attack on New Atlantis. The dear departed Dr. Reginald Orlays, the associate who aided me all these years, and whom I always slated to
But I
take the
killed him.
fall.
Was that not him?
What luck he was stopped dead before he could hurt anyone else. His decades on the run brought to an end by another unlikely hero. You.
So you murdered UC citizens because of some slight against your honor? I mean, I kind of understand his perspective. He was a leader of the UC during the war. He did everything he had to ensure his people's survival and everything he could do to wipe out the enemy. And for his efforts, he was sentenced to death. And instead of killing him, they captured him, pretended he was dead, and have just used him since. Like, I completely understand why he'd be a little upset and would like to get some revenge against some people. Like, I understand him. He's done nothing
Something amiss, Captain.
except his best. Does it involve killing people along the way and, doing some xeno warfare atrocities during the war? Yeah, sure, but they were at war. So I kind of understand that he's a little unhappy with his current situation. So I'm just your cleanup crew. You must think you're very clever. Ole, sweaty familiar. How could you have coordinated all of that from in here?
It wasn't easy. But the beauty of being loathed is that people will do whatever they can not to deal with you.
How does that make
They
any
wanted to
sense?
pretend I didn't exist. And so I used their blind eye to my
Yeah,
advantage.
but how do they get through the door
Still,
here?
Establishing a back channel to Orlays via the UC recovery teams was painstaking work. I've led campaigns less nerve-wracking. They believed they were luring in wanted criminals, but were in fact delivering precisely encoded slates, filled with instructions invisible to any but their recipient, dropped off at just the right moments to fall into the proper hands. All without the UC realizing whom they were actually dealing with. Slow work. But as you can see, ultimately effective.
Why the hell do you care if the UC wants you as an advisor?
Why would I want to be in the good graces of the people who control my very life? I don't know, Captain. Maybe I still dream of a life outside these walls someday. A new face would be needed, of course, but it wasn't an impossibility. Though
Yeah.
now, I'm not so sure.
Because shit, the place that does the plastic surgery and you can change your face. I forgot what it was called. Stubborny, didn't it? And I thought it was Essence, but no, that was a typo. It was something else. Okay.
Captain, please. You've benefited here as much as I have. Maybe more. ensure your and
You
Hadrian's
certainly
success.
did.
And look at the results. I know for a fact the Cabinet's planning to honor both you and Hadrian once this is all done. Isn't that preferable to languishing away in obscurity? Running jobs on the tail end of nowhere for the Vanguard? With only the vague hopes of perhaps earning the right to buy a home in the well someday.
I know this is morally ambiguous and probably on the darker side of grey, because innocent people were killed at the spaceport with the terror attacks. Though I think only 2 people died in the end. 1 or 2, like there wasn't that many, but it's still deaths, and that's blood that's on his hands. I'm not blind to that, but I've also always been angry at the fact that him and the 2 others who were leading the UC were condemned to death purely for leading the war efforts. Like, I still can't get over that. So I'm not entirely on board with just condemning this guy. I don't feel like that's just or fair. Yes, actually. They'd be honouring me for cleaning up your messes. If you're waiting for me to say thank you, we're going to be here for a while. I suppose there must have been some betterments to all this. What kind of honours are we talking here?
Precisely. And let's not forget the importance of our actual endgame. Eliminating the terramorphs. Securing knowledge of the Lazarus plant. What we've set in motion is going to protect thousands, maybe millions of
He's not wrong.
lives.
This is like his
I'm
version of
simply
Londinium all
requesting
over
one more
again.
life be protected. Mine. I've already sent along the evidence of Orlez's role in the attacks to the cabinet, leaving out my own involvement. All I ask is that you confirm as much to the cabinet. Tell them that it was Orlez and Orlez alone. After all, I do still have a long list of threats to the UC. This needn't be the end of our good works together.
I hope you've enjoyed this talk, because once I tell the cabinet, I'll probably be your last. You know, I'm not sure what I'm going to tell the cabinet. Fine, I'll make sure everything is pinned on lace. You think I'm just going to forget the fact that you killed people to accomplish your good works? What kind of work are we talking about here?
Hunting down criminals and other threats to the United Colonies. I expect they'll give me a bit more free range once this is all over. You would help me, like you did with Orlez. Track them down and keep them from doing harm to the United Colonies. Impossible, though, if the cabinet learns I'm the one responsible for the attacks.
Look, I can be morally ambiguous at times.
Splendid. Then I won't keep you. You've got important work, after all. Here's to a bright future.
To the United Colonies. Look, can I at least tell Hadrian that you're alive? Is that at least one thing I'm permitted to do? Because I feel she needs to know at some point. While we were doing all of this was probably a bad idea, but now that it's practically over with, surely I can tell her? Or did he just never want her to know?
I always enjoy these moments. It is always a pleasure.
Let's go. I don't think that's the door. This is the door. You coming? So, Hadrian, you do have a right to know about your father, and I will be telling you at some point. Assuming they let me. Hi, folks.
Perfect timing. We just got in. So on our end, good news. The microbe and the acyles are both as effective against heat leeches as they are against terramorphs.
Just don't make me choose.
Means either plan should work for clearing those critters off our worlds.
Considering what the Lazarus plant is capable of, I don't think we can deal with those things fast enough. I already sent along info to the cabinet to get them up to speed. So what about your end? Did you find anything?
It was all lace.
Any leads on who might have committed the
And
attacks?
your father's alive. It was Vivictus. I managed to get him to confess. It was a man named Dr. Reginald Lace. He perpetrated the attacks.
Orlez? Reginald Orlez? He did this? I didn't think he was still alive.
Oh, he isn't.
You're sure it was him?
I killed him already. Positive. The evidence is on its way to the cabinet as we speak.
If he is responsible, let us hope the cabinet deals with it swiftly and harshly.
You'll never know the truth,
That's some
Andreja.
impressive work. So then give us the rundown. Where's Orlays now? Were you able to bring him in?
I already killed him. Was on a mission to bring him in and I killed him. Didn't realize what he'd done at the time.
Huh, I see. Wish we could have questioned him. But, well, there's nothing we can do at this point. Any idea why he might have done it? Or what he was doing with the plant?
Not sure. I never found a confession. He found the plant while searching Londinian for weapon data and chose to use it against the UC. He thought he was doing the right thing, making sure no one could use the Lazarus plant.
Aha! That makes sense. Plenty of abandoned tech for an old warmonger to pilfer there. Instead, he stumbles on the plant and finds the perfect way of getting back at the UC for
Oh
trying
yeah,
to
he
put
was
him
one
on
of the
trial.
three, of course. Who's the
Decides
third?
to use the plant against the people that destroyed his old life. I can see that. Well, at least he won't be able to hurt anybody else now.
about your father?
Might be the best we could ask for, given the circumstances.
I'll tell you about your father.
So I guess there's nothing else to do but get this all in front of the cabinet. Unless there were other things we needed to discuss.
Yeah, I'm still gonna tell you
This
about your
might be
father.
our last opportunity to talk things through before the cabinet weighs in on
Oh,
a
I need to
decision
talk about that.
regarding the terramorphs.
I need to talk about that. I want to talk about your father. Which methods of dealing in terms are you two leaning towards? Actually, it's a good
Microbe
question.
is going to make the cleanup a whole lot quicker.
Correct.
If we're concerned about this Lazarus plant getting deployed again, that's the way to go.
The cabinet can secure the Lazarus plant. And then we're not risking any surprises when it comes to dealing
You're
with a microbe.
split, in other words.
You're being paranoid. You know the science. You know we can make this safe.
I do know the science. I also know math. And a 1 in a million chance of a mutation isn't 0. So I guess we're still in discussion. Probably best at this point to let the cabinet weigh in. See if they have a preference.
I think I've got an odd number as well, so they could have a majority. So both approaches to cleaner words are effective against heat leeches. What risk there? Okay, cool. Nothing else.
And here we go.
I want to tell you about your father, though. Can we talk about your father? Nope. Okay. Well, good riddance. This way, Andreja. Let's get ready to lie my butt off.
Welcome back, all of you.
Who's the
I
third?
wish we were meeting under better
Faye
circumstances.
Victus, Reginald
But
Olays.
according to
Who's the
Hadrian's
third?
report, and the second one I just received, it seems the Terramorph attack on New Atlantis was no random occurrence, but a planned strike.
I mean, we already knew that.
Is what I'm reading here true?
That is correct, ma'am. It was a deliberate attack.
My God.
An attack? Using terramorphs? How is that possible?
I thought they said they
You will
gave
all
you the...
receive a full briefing.
Thank
once we're
you.
done here.
That's what I was trying to say.
So
I
then,
was
is
like,
what the
come on,
second report
guys.
claims correct? Did Reginald Orlays commit these attacks, Captain?
100% no one else involved. The report isn't the whole truth. Yes. Why would Hadrian say these? What?
That appears to be the case, ma'am. The captain tracked that information down just after our trip to Londinian.
Reginald Olays? Wasn't there a report he'd been killed recently?
Yep, that'll be me.
Body was found floating around Etheria.
Accident.
Report mentioned you were sent to try and bring him in, Captain. I guess that didn't go according
The
to
game
plan.
hasn't taught me how to take away
Ah,
out
yes.
ship parts.
I
So
was told about your mission and who ordered it. Did you two suspect at the time Orlays might have been involved in the attacks?
no, we just thought we were dealing with a known criminal.
Well, it appears you were ahead of the curve. This report contains definitive evidence Orlays triggered the attacks via this Lazarus plant the captain and Major Sanan uncovered.
Simply harrowing.
Indeed. Though it would have been preferable for him to have finally faced the UC's
Look,
justice.
the game
it seems
hasn't
both
taught
of
me
you
how
are
to
be
do it.
commended For ensuring
I need
he
certain
was dealt
weapon
with
parts on
before
my
he
ship
could
for
strike
this.
again.
Or like
You have
levels or
our
something.
thanks. Now, with our villain unmasked, we can attend to the other matters at hand.
Such as
With the threads you brought
those,
together
yes.
here. The Lazarus plant, the attacks, the heat leeches. The three of you have likely spared thousands of lives. But it now falls to the cabinet to ensure this
And it's an
can
odd
never
number, so what's the
happen
majority?
again. As such, the cabinet will be securing the Lazarus plant on Londinian. All materials related to the plant will be classified to ensure no one else learns its true nature.
A sound decision, Madam President.
Agreed, that's the right call, ma'am. Ma'am, I believe the other faction should be involved in securing the Lazarus plant. It's hard to say, because I understand that the more people you bring in, the more opportunity you have for someone to go do the very thing you're afraid of. But at the same time, we're supposed to be in a time of peace, and a time of truce, where they're technically your allies now, and you really ought to keep them apprised of these life-destroying measures. Securing the plant isn't enough, it should be wiped out. What sort of measures will the UC be taking to protect the Lazarus plant?
We're already discussing the elimination of one species, Captain. Explain to me why you wish to eliminate another.
Because it eradicates every opportunity for it to happen again. Hard for anyone to commit new attacks with the plant if we erase any trace of it. Destroying it and asking the Freestyle Collective to help proves the UC has no ill intentions. I'm shocked you don't want to destroy it. Is the UC plan to keep this for themselves? That's a bit rough.
They are ultimately threatened as much as the United Colonies. To share what you know and what can be done to make us all safer can only foster good relations.
And isn't that what we want? Good relations.
That is an idea with some merit to it. Decrease the likelihood of anything like this occurring again, and further relations between our two factions.
Yeah.
Two birds with a single stone.
That's what we're all about.
Very well. We'll include the collective in the removal process. Thank you for the suggestion, Captain.
I'm surprised you didn't think of it.
To our final topic.
I don't want to make the choice.
The cabinet has agreed to implement a plan that will deal with the terramorph, and now also heat leech presence on human worlds.
Which one?
In fact, we've already begun enacting measures to check all UC ports and settlements for undiscovered nests. But we all understand this is only a partial solution.
Yeah.
The project we're embarking on will be a long and difficult one. So our first step must be deciding how exactly this all will be handled.
Madam President, this microbe is clearly too much of a risk. The Aseles are the safer approach.
To someone with limited knowledge of biology, perhaps. The technology behind the microbe is solved science, Madam President. It isn't dangerous. Using it to wipe out the terramorphs would be the quickest path to protecting humanity.
And fast results always lead to the best outcomes, don't they?
As you can see, there remains debate among the cabinet.
What's your opinion?
We were hoping your
Or
group
are you
might
not
issue
allowed
a
to have an
recommendation.
opinion?
Major?
We've been having similar debates ourselves, but the captain has yet to weigh in.
I see. Captain, I know this may not be your
I'm
area
a
of expertise,
fucking
but we'd
minor.
like to know your take on the matter.
Of course it's not my area of expertise. How many times must I tell you people this? My concern with the Aseles is that heat leeches are pests within settlements. Are you just going to let these large creatures free roam throughout the settlements to eat them out? And what about the heat leeches that are inside buildings? How is an Aseles going to get into there? It seems very impractical in settled areas. Yes, I mean, long term, by all means, throw them on civilized planets and they can just be a deterrent going forward. But the heat leeches in settlements now, as we speak, the Aseles are of no use to that. Terramorphs have caused enough damage. They need to be wiped out quickly with the microbe. Do we need to do anything? Shouldn't
These are
destroying the
topics of
be
the
sufficient?
utmost
Some questions about the methods. Anyone
Take your time.
Glad to see someone's not afraid of a little applied genetics.
I'm not gonna
The
lie,
science
I generally
division is
am.
in full
But
agreement.
Let us hope this science division truly
don't
knows
even
what
start,
they're doing.
Androsia. My
Grand
logic is
threats
sound.
merit grand actions, and grand actions are precisely what our group does.
Order, please. And Major Sinan? Dr. Walker, you'd find this acceptable?
We trust the captain's judgment.
Then the matter is settled.
At least someone does.
We'll begin the process
My
immediately.
partner doesn't.
Today marks day one for the United Colonies Terramorph Management Division, making you three the founding members of the TMD.
I'm a founding member.
As
Damn.
befits such a group, the cabinet wanted to display its gratitude.
A very good apartment.
Today, we will be adding 3 new Class 1 citizens to our ranks.
Class 1? For the three of us? Are you joking?
What he means to say is, thank you, ma'am.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
What is a class 1 citizen?
It's a status reserved only for those who've dedicated their lives to the United Colonies, or done great things for its cause. Class 1s enjoy an ample credit disbursement.
Really?
An additional reduction on the cost of colonial goods. And I'm told the penthouse is rather impressive.
Man. Oh, hell yeah. I couldn't spend my money on a ship because I can't fly it. I want the penthouse. Thank you, Madam President.
You all have earned it. Now, there's much to be done. Major Sanan, Dr. Walker, I hope you two are willing to continue your efforts, spearheading the TMD's research on Mars.
We'd be honored, ma'am.
As for you, Captain,
Yeah?
the Vanguard will be providing much of the on-the-ground support for the TMD. As a member of both the Vanguard and the TMD, I believe you'll have your pick of duties. Speak to your commander, Tuala, if I
That's
recall
the
correctly.
guy. Pleasant man.
He should be able to provide you with assignments
I don't
going
need
forward.
assignments, honey. Unless they're
Plus,
like
help
quests.
you collect the
Nah.
benefits that come with being named Class 1.
Come on,
On
Tuala.
behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our sincerest gratitude.
You're welcome.
This meeting is adjourned.
Hey, Adrian. Still gotta tell you about your daddy-o being alive and, you know, that old shtick. Hey, Adrian.
Captain, I guess we've got our assignments. I just wanted to say, I could have never guessed where all this was going to lead. But
Speak to Vivek just about
what
working
you've
together.
done for Percival,
Actually, that's...
for me, for everyone. Well, there aren't words
I
to
finished the
express
quest
how
line,
grateful
so
I
everyone
am.
will want to speak to me. I'm just glad I was able to help. Then let's keep going. Come with me. No, she's got shit to do.
Well, I think it's safe to say you succeeded beyond anyone's
I
wildest
think I've missed all
dreams.
opportunities to tell her about her
It's
father.
been an honor, Captain. Good luck out there.
Bye, Adrian. I guess you'll never know about your father. Sorry about that. Now, let's go to Vey, actually. And then we'll do Tuala. Let us log that as the active quest. No. Vey! If you're just going to give me assignments, oopsies, I'm not interested. If they're going to be super cool quests, I'm on board. I kind of thought I'd be finished with this storyline, but let's go. Yo, boo, I did as you said. Let's go kill some people.
What's this? Just you then? No UC executioner. So the cabinet knows the truth about Orlays. Splendid. That means you and I can get to work.
Let's go. During the outbreak, why not try to evacuate Londonian by the spaceport? Because the people themselves were the problem. He didn't know who knew. And I'm okay with this. If anyone's going to know this, it's you. Why did the UC lose the colony war?
I'll tell you why. Because the UC was, and is, full of people unwilling to pay the price required for victory. In the last days of the war, the UC was on the precipice of executing a final great assault on the Freestar Collective home system of Cheyenne. A massive strike, capable of obliterating Freestar Central Command and ending the conflict at long last.
I'm guessing things didn't go according to plan. Why wait so long? Why not just look at the leadership early and be done with it?
I thought I'd had myself. But such invasions are costly, in resources and lives. Others in the UC believed the blockade would be sufficient to bring the Freestar Collective to its knees. But they were wrong. So instead, they sacrificed far more lives in a protracted war, rather than doing the right thing from the start, and demolishing the Freestar capital when they have the chance. You'd be right. Everything was in place. But just before we could launch the strike, word came from Londinian. The Terramorph outbreak had begun. I went to the city to assess the state of things and discovered the Lazarus plant. We couldn't spare ships for a proper quarantine, so it was my decision to destroy the spaceport and seal off the city. Deal with it quickly, so we could get back to winning the war.
Wouldn't want all those innocent lives distracting you from your galactic war. Sacrifice one city to save others. I suppose I can see the logic there. Keep going. If you were able to get in, why couldn't you get the citizens of Lindinia? I've already answered that myself.
It seemed a simple choice. So upon my return from Londinian, we proceeded with our killing blow. Initially, we had great success against the mess the Freestar Collective called the Navy. But then the Freestar citizenry decided to get involved. Dozens of civilian ships jumping in to shield their military counterparts.
Ooh.
I, of course, had no trouble firing on what should have been designated enemy vessels. But my peers had lost the stomach for it. So many lives lost already, they wailed. So the great UC Navy was routed by a mob. They picked our ships apart. The UC surrendered not long after. And thus rang the death knell for the great UC.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it was them, it was the Freestar Collective civilians, or it was the UC military. Because as he said, they picked the ships off until eventually they surrendered. So a lot of people who decided not to fire upon those civilians to get to the military lost their lives. Quite frankly, if I have to kill a civilian to save myself from certain death, you better believe I'm going to kill that civilian in order to kill the military person behind them. 100% if it means I get to survive. Like, I'm a selfish creature. A lot of us would like our own lives. Survival is the only thing we have for us. If we don't have that, we've got nothing. We're dead. And considering that there was so much at stake...
Continue whenever you like.
But anyway, obviously the current status of this situation is for the best. But from his perspective at the time, that was bad. Pacify civilians. Ironic considering the civilians you sacrifice in Londinian. Sounds like the only person you have to blame for the UC's defeat is yourself. Your planning seems sound. Just a bad roll of dice, I guess.
That's one way of putting it. But yes, bad luck. And weak subordinates.
Okay. Let's talk.
Well, thanks to our combined efforts, the Sanan name has more clout with the cabinet than it has in years. I hope to build on that. I have a long list of names civilized society would be better without.
Is this like assassination
I
targets?
just need someone to help me remove them from the picture. Should we begin the hunt? Or did you have questions?
Started.
Just what I was hoping to hear. There's a slate waiting for you in the transfer system.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Oh, here. I follow.
Those are the details for our first,
Preventative action.
person of interest. Find them, eliminate them, and make the galaxy a better place for it.
Arachna.
Though I would expect some resistance when trying to approach the target. Deal with any you encounter as you see fit.
If I'm ever near that planet, I'll do exactly as you bid, sir. I don't know. Where is that? Preventative action, Iraq. Nah. Bloody hell, where is that? It's not that far away. I mean, I don't really want to find a new place. I kind of want to deal with what I've got so far. I've got so many freaking dots I've been to on the map that I haven't dealt with just yet. We should focus target. Oh, damn it. My list got longer. Oh no, yes it did, it did. Drat it. Here I was thinking that we'd finish with the UC. And to an extent we have.
Your friend has to stay here.
Come on, Treasure. Thank you. To an extent it has, but I think this is like a part 2. $12 office.